Hi, my name is Laura and I'm going to be doing the opposition speech for this round. So with that said, 5 minutes on the clock, my time shall begin. Now, this House negates the resolution resolved. This House believes that nuclear power should not replace fossil fuels as the main source of world energy framework. The team that provides warranted impactful evidence which proves that their side brings the most humanitarian and economical benefits should win this round. Take into consideration, judge of the opposing team did not provide a framework, which means that this is going to be the stated framework for the round. Contention number 1, uranium and waste. Sub-point 1, uranium. Uranium mining and processing are associated with a wide range of potential adverse human health risks. This health risk is typically most relevant to individuals occupationally exposed in this industry, but certain exposures and their associated risk can extend through environmental pathways to the general population. National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health researchers took over the study and concluded that we found strong evidence for an increased risk for lung cancer in white uranium miners. We expected about 64 deaths, but found 371. This means we found about 6 times more lung cancer deaths than expected. Also, we cannot rely on nuclear energy to solve the problems of the world because it cannot supply the world's need. Since according to Liza Saiga, at the current rate of uranium consumption with conventional reactors, the world's supply of viable uranium, which is the most common nuclear fuel, will last for 80 years. But scaling consumption to a level of main source of energy worldwide will make the supply last for less than 5 years, according to the study. So point 2, radioactive waste. More than 250,000 metric tons of highly radioactive waste sits in storage near nuclear power plants and weapons production facilities worldwide, with over 90,000 metric tons in the U.S. alone, emitting radiation that can pose serious risks to human health and the environment. America may have won the Cold War, but a decade after the collapse of the Soviet Union, Utah is left with a toxic legacy that has killed and sickened untold thousands of uranium miners and mill workers, contaminated water supplies, and infected an otherwise stunning red rock landscape with millions of tons of radioactive mill tailings that will cost American taxpayers billions of dollars to remove and bury safely out of sight. British Columbia Medical Association also warns of a rapidly flowering crop of radiation-induced cancers among Canadian uranium miners. It says that a total of 81 Canadian uranium miners had died of lung cancer by October when this study was conducted. In 2011, residents across an American community in St. Louis began to notice a chain of inexplicably high incidence of cancer and disease across its population. For decades, both former and current residents from approximately 90 municipalities in the Missouri city were diagnosed with a long list of life-threatening illnesses. People died, babies died, and they're still dying to this day, but nowhere ever connected the dots as to what was really making these innocent people sick. This, all because in 1946, they began to ship the leftovers of a radioactive military in an underpopulated area of St. Louis next to a creek by the name of Coldwater. It was here that approximately 250,000 barrels of radioactive waste were dumped in shallow pits and exposed to the elements, proving that the impact of radioactive waste is both short and long-term and significant to the populations since they detriment the human health and the environment. Consideration number 2, energy poverty and inequality. Efforts to shift away from fossil fuels and replace oil and coal with renewable energy sources can help reduce carbon emissions, but do so at the expense of increased inequality. According to a new Portland State University study, said that in nations like the United States, where fossil fuel energy is substituted for renewable energy as a way to reduce carbon emissions, it comes at the cost of increased inequality. That's because the shift to renewable energy is done through tax subsidies. This reduces energy costs for homeowners who can afford to pay this, but for those who can't, it drives up the prices of fossil fuel energy as utility companies seek to recapture losses. That means increased utility bills for the rest of low-income families, increasing financial pressure, thus creating energy poverty. Our brief history of development in the last 3 decades makes it clear that cheap, plentiful, and reliable energy from fossil fuel is a winning formula for development and massive improvements in human lives. The use of fossil fuels as the main source of energy in China and India skyrocketed life expectancy and prosperity. The infant mortality rate has plummeted in both countries, in China by 70% and in India by 58%, solely because of the reliable fossil fuels. Not only in China and India, but around the world, hundreds of millions of individuals in industrializing countries have gotten their first light bulb, their first refrigerator, their first decent paying jobs because of fossil fuels. In fact, despite a nearly 60% increase in developing world's population, the number of people living in extreme poverty has dropped dramatically. By 2013, only 10.9% were in extreme poverty. None of that could have been accomplished without the ready access to the cheap energy provided by fossil fuels. The International Energy Agency reported in 2017 more than 120 million people worldwide gained access to electricity, causing the total number of people without access to fall below 1 billion for the first time ever. But how? Since 2000, 26% of this additional access to electricity has come from natural gas, and to a lesser extent from oil. Another 45% of this has come from coal. Those who argue we should stop using all fossil fuels immediately may not realize that they will be limiting the opportunity of those without power to improve their standard of living. Judge, this is why I negate, and you should too. Thank you.